Listen to this. Now listen to this. Same melody, complete different feeling. What changed wasn't the note, it was how many layers were happening at once. Musicians call this texture, and it's the difference between a guitar part that sounds like a voice and one that sounds like fire. Texture describes how many musical layers are happening at the same time and how they are related to each other. Musicologists actually recognize four types, but three of them will cover almost everything you have ever played. One voice, a melody with support, multiple independent voices. Let's take one at a time, and I promise you already know all of this. You just don't have the word for them yet. That's monophony. One single line, no harmony underneath, no second voices. It is the oldest, simplest texture in music. Georgian monks chanted in pure monophony 1,000 years ago, and it is still one of the most powerful sounds today. Queen We Will Rock You opens almost entirely monophonic, just a clap and a stomp and a single vocal line. No chord fighting for attention, just one voice completely exposed. On guitar, every time you play a solo lick with nothing underneath, like no rhythm guitar, no backing track, that is monophony. It is naked, it is vulnerable, and that's exactly why it's powerful. There is nowhere to hide. Now, add support underneath that single line, and you get homophony. That is a texture you will use more than any other in almost every style you ever play. Think of it like a lead singer with a backing band. One clear voice out front. That is your melody, your vocal line, your bass, your guitar solo. Everything else, the chords, rhythm, everything else, they support it without competing with it. When you strum chords behind the singer, that's homophony. When you play rhythm guitar behind the lead guitarist, that's also homophony. Almost every pop song, rock song, country you have ever heard, everything lives here. It's the most common texture in modern music. There's a special version of this called homorhythmic texture, where the accompanying chords move in exactly the same rhythm as the melody. Think of a hymn. Everything moves together like a machine band in step. Now, the rarest and most impressive texture of all, polyphony. Not a melody with support underneath, two or more melodies, each with their own logic and their own direction, happening at the exact same time. Musicians call it the counterpoint. It is a conversation, not a solo with a backup band. Johann Sebastian Bach was the master of this. His fugues are built entirely from multiple independent voices weaving in and out of each other. Every time, four or five melodies running simultaneously, each one making complete sense on its own and even more sense together. That is what real fingerpicking does. Your thumb plays an independent bass line, your fingers play an independent melody on top. Two voices moving on their own, but locking together perfectly. That is polyphony, right here on one guitar. You've heard this in modern music too, even if you didn't know the name. The horn counterpoint in Good Vibration by Beach Boys, the overlapping vocal rounds in Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair. It is rare in pop music, which is exactly why it stands out so much when you hear it. Here, why this matters for how you actually play guitar. When you strum, all notes of the chord hit together in the same rhythm. That's homophonic, clean, supportive, unified. Great for driving the song forward. But when you fingerpick, your thumb keeps a bass pulse going on while your fingers pick out a separate pattern on top. You have just slipped into something close to polyphony, two independent things happening on one guitar at the same time. This is why a good finger picking pattern can sound like a full band, even played by one guitarist alone. You're not playing one texture, you're weaving two or three. So, monophony, one voice alone, homophony, a melody with support, the most common texture in modern music. Polyphony, two or more independent melodies in conversation, the rarest and the most impressive. Strumming leans homophony. Fingerpicking leans polyphonic. Now you know exactly why fingerstyle can sound like a full band on its own. On next lesson, we bring everything from this entire series together, your first full song analyze. See you there.